All right, so what? Anybody doesn't
Okay.
want to live, any Jewish person that doesn't want to live in Palestine can take their bags and go somewhere else. They are in
So that's
Palestine. The fact that they changed the name in 1948 didn't make it stop being Palestine. It still is Palestine. It was
right.
Palestine going back for thousands of years. And so if anybody is uncomfortable living with an Arab majority, what the hell are they doing in coming to colonize an Arab
Yeah.
country?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I
But
mean, that's just the way it is. They don't like it, they can go somewhere else. The reality is this, Kim. Look, there's no choice. The choice is not one state, two state, because there is no scenario on earth that the state of Israel, this Zionist entity, which is founded on a racist, supremacist ideology, which is Zionism, which has been an apartheid state from day one. It was designed as an apartheid state, and the Amnesty International report from last year demonstrates with data very clearly. Of course, I knew it. Many of us knew it, a long time ago. But very clear that it was an apartheid state from the get-go. There is no scenario that that state is going to allow a Palestinian entity full independence anywhere. Number one. Number two, what they have done throughout Palestine cannot be undone. There is no place where there are only Jews and only Arabs and you can somehow splice
yeah.
the country. Number two, and number three, you talked about the West Bank and visiting the West Bank. If you go to Lid, where the Tel Aviv airport sits,
Yeah.
Tel Aviv airport sits on the occupied city of Lid. There are entire neighborhoods with tens of thousands of people who have no access to water, no access to education, no access to roads, no access to anything, cannot buy a new apartment because they're Arabs. And this is right smack in the heart, and they're Israeli citizens. And this has
Yeah.
happened in the Negev, in the south, in the Galilee, and everywhere else. So there is nothing special about the West Bank in terms of the oppression, in terms of what Palestinians are going through. It's just that it's a slightly different bureaucracy. It's a slightly different system that's doing it. So number one, it's an impossibility. Number two, even if you did, there is no place in the country where you could splice and cut. And number three, why in the world should the Zionists get 80% of the country that they stole? And the Palestinians, why should they agree to accept 20%? It is Palestine. And for 4,000 years, until May 15, 1948, that country was known and referred to as Palestine. Look at any map going back and you're going to see it referred to as Palestine. Suddenly the Zionists came, stole a country that was thriving and by the way, and in full bloom. They stole produce from the field. They stole entire cities that are already established. They stole money from people's money from the banks. They stole a country that was in full bloom, and then they lied about it and said, oh no, we made the desert bloom. Really? So where did the Jaffa oranges come from? And how is it that Palestinians were exporting cotton and oil and all these different things to Europe, all these hundreds and hundreds of years going back? You see, so why should Palestinians accept anything but an absolute free and democratic Palestine and the absolute right of the refugees to return? If Israelis don't want to live in a Palestinian state, if they don't want to live in a state, in a state where Palestinians are a majority, they need to get the flag out because Palestinians are already a majority. They need to get the hell out. The only reason they're staying is because there's an apartheid regime where they feel comfortable as, as privileged people.